The smoke had thickened into a choking veil that turned the midday sky a bruised grey. Explosions echoed in the distance like thunder rolling across a dead world. Sergeant Kellan Mace lay sprawled on the ground, blood seeping through the shredded remains of his armor. His pulse throbbed in his ears as his vision faded in and out. He tried to move, tried to crawl toward the flickering emergency beacon strapped to his belt, but his limbs no longer obeyed. The battlefield around him, once swarming with comrades and enemies alike, had fallen deathly silent. The last thing he saw before unconsciousness claimed him was a towering shadow, easily 9 feet tall, moving through the smoke with unnaturally fluid grace. He awoke to warmth. Not just heat from a fire, but something deeper. Gentle pressure against his body. A presence. A hum. Kellan blinked his swollen eyes open and gasped. Looming above him was the face of a creature both alien and maternal. Her features were angular but soft, and her lavender skin shimmered under the low light of a distant star. For glowing eyes blinked slowly down at him. "Do not fear," she said, her voice like a lullaby laced with thunder. "You are safe now, little one." She was massive, easily 9 feet tall, with elongated limbs, powerful shoulders, and arms that wrapped around his broken body as if he were a fragile hatchling. Her silver-white hair was braided down her back, and she wore a flowing robe stitched with strange symbols. Kellan tried to sit up, but pain flared across his ribs. She gently pushed him back down. "You were left to die," she whispered, brushing the hair from his brow with shocking tenderness. "But I would not let you die." The shelter was a hollowed-out root system beneath the soil of her forested planet, cushioned with moss and furs. Days passed in a haze as Kellan's body healed under her care. The alien, whom he came to know as Tikara, fed him with nutrient-rich broths, applied salves to his burns, and even sang strange lullabies in a low, haunting language when nightmares gripped him. She spoke very little of herself, but Kellan began to piece together her story. Tikara was once a healer of her people, the Ulvari, a matriarchal race known for their size, strength, and wisdom. But the war between humans and Ulvari had scattered her clan, and she had retreated into the wilderness, disillusioned by the destruction wrought by both sides. When she had found Kellan, broken and barely breathing, something had stirred inside her, a calling she had long buried. "You remind me of my son," she told him one evening, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "He died in the early days of this war. So small. So brave." Kellan felt his throat tighten. "I'm sorry." She smiled sadly. "Now I care for you. Not out of duty, but out of choice." As Kellan healed, so did his spirit. Tikara taught him how to read the wind, how to track the song of water through the trees, and how to silence his mind. In turn, he told her stories of Earth, of his younger sister who'd begged him not to enlist, of the war that had turned good men into ghosts. The more time they spent together, the more he realized she wasn't just a protector, she was a teacher, a mother, a fierce guardian of life. But as weeks passed, human reconnaissance drones began appearing in the sky. The war hadn't ended. It had simply moved. "I have to go back," Kellan said one morning, standing at the edge of the forest, fully clothed in salvaged gear. Tikara stood beside him, her expression unreadable. "You are healed." "Yes. But are you whole?" Kellan hesitated. "I can't stay here while others die. I have a duty." Tikara stepped forward and cupped his face in her massive hands. "Then take with you the truth of what you've seen. Not all Ulvari are enemies. And not all humans are monsters." He returned to base under the cover of night, half expecting to be shot on sight. But when a patrol found him, they treated him like a miracle. "Sergeant Mace. We thought you were okay." He was debriefed for hours, tested, questioned. But when he tried to tell them about Tikara, no one believed him. "A giant alien nurse mother saved you," the commander sneered. Do you have any idea how that sounds? Kellan did. And yet, he couldn't shake the memory of her eyes, or the feel of her hand on his forehead. They sent him back to the front lines. War didn't care for sentiment. It was months later when the tide of the war shifted violently. A massive Ulvari assault threatened to breach one of Earth's most crucial outposts. Reinforcements were days away. Kellan was there, commanding a small unit. As artillery shells rained from the sky, and the air turned into fire, he shouted orders, dragging the wounded into cover, his own body screaming from old wounds. Suddenly, through the smoke, he saw her. Tikara. She moved like a goddess of war, her long limbs tearing through enemy ranks, shielding humans, lifting collapsed debris as if it were paper. She was not fighting for one side. She was protecting all life around her. Kellan, she roared, catching sight of him. Fall back. The ridge will collapse. He obeyed without question. Moments later, the ground buckled, burying the advancing Ulvari forces in rubble. After the dust settled, she limped toward him, blood streaked across her robes. You shouldn't have come, he said, voice breaking. I came for you, little one. The war ended 2 months later. Humanity and the Ulvari signed a fragile ceasefire, pushed forward by eyewitness reports of a warrior healer who had risked everything to save lives on both sides. Tikara became a symbol of reconciliation. She refused any formal honors. I am no general, she said at a press meeting. I am a mother who buried her child and vowed never to let another suffer alone again. Kellan left the military soon after. He visited Tikara often, helping her build a sanctuary in the forest where wounded from all races could heal in peace. He called her Mom once, jokingly. She didn't laugh. She simply held his head to her chest and hummed a familiar song until he fell asleep. Years later, Kellan sat on the porch of the sanctuary, watching children, human and Ulvari, play in the clearing. He was older now. Grizzled. Tikara approached from behind, her presence still towering but comforting. You did well, little one, she said. I had a good teacher, he replied, smiling. She sat beside him, and together they watched a new world being born. One not of war, but of love, healing, and the kind of care that only a 9-foot alien mommy could give. The end.